So I'm really glad to be here, and we'll share the results of our most recent research. As Charuta presented earlier today, you see that we, as Phocuswright, we size the globe for travel data research, and we are going to do that now, taking a deep dive on Latin America. So let's see what we have here. So, as I said, what I'm about to present is a fresh release on Latin America's work together. We work together data from Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and segments such as air, accommodation, car rental, and tour operators. So these highlights are for the region, but in the study, you will find the data open by country as well. So we believe this information is going to help us recover from these turbulent times. Turbulent times, I think we can all say this is a major understatement. The coronavirus pandemic has led to the worst economic crisis in a century. Political turmoil, social inequality, and poor public health infrastructure created a ripe environment for COVID-19 to proliferate, as the pandemic magnified Latin America's underlying problems. In an effort to stabilize the region, international community and national governments in each Latin American country announced a broad range of social and economic support measures, including easing bureaucratic labor laws, providing emergency stimulus checks to the unemployed, and shoring up local governments and businesses with credit lines and emergency aids. So this is a lot of action going on in the region, but this ongoing struggle with the coronavirus response will certainly take a heavy toll on the region's travel market in 2020. Gross bookings, which rose 3% to 57.4 billion in 2019, are forecast to plunge 62% this year. There remains a high level of uncertainty around travel market recovery, and the majority of Latin American countries are still closed to international visitors, which of course dampens the outlook for airlines and tour operators in particular. Most countries lifted domestic travel bans around June and July, and we saw a surge in hotel and car rental bookings, which began to generate some optimism. Some destinations that are easily reached by car or bus reported hotel occupancy rates in the 80% range on weekends and holidays, confirming that Latin Americans are eager to resume traveling. The good news is that the travel market will begin to recover in 2021 as revenue rises a projected 88% to 40.8 billion. However, overall gross bookings will not return to pre-pandemic levels until 2024. Due to the level of uncertainty, we have worked two other scenarios, the best case and the worst case. The best case scenario considers a vaccine that becomes globally available early in 2021, and Latin America coronavirus cases and deaths experience a marked and steady decline. That, of course, would boost recovery above pre-pandemic levels, maybe as soon as 2022, when revenue could exceed 66 billion. On the other hand, in a worst-case scenario, where Latin American authorities are unable to bring the pandemic under control in the coming year, and a social and political unrest continues, total gross bookings will be projected to climb only to 31 billion in 2021. Recovery to pre-pandemic revenue levels would occur beyond 2024, as international inbound and outbound travel fail to rebound, and unmanaged corporate travel permanently suffers from long-term changes in the in-person conference and events business. One positive trend, as Pete mentions in the opening, We see as well across Latin America's travel market the continued growth of the online distribution. Latin America online travel revenue rose to 22.5 billion in 2019, an 8% increase over the previous year. With COVID-19 wreaking havoc on every travel segment, online gross bookings are projected to drop 59% to 9.1 billion in 2020. Still, online revenue will recover more quickly than the overall travel market, as OTAs and suppliers capitalize on gains in internet access to attract Latin American consumers with online convenience and promotional prices. Online revenue is expected to reach 23.5 billion in 2022, exceeding pre-pandemic levels. Despite these online increases, you can see here in the chart that offline channels are predicted to account for 58% of travel market revenue in 2020. Online distribution through both OTAs and supplier direct branded channels will continue its steady climb, and online penetration in the region is forecast to reach 48% by 2024, bolstered by Latin America's fragmented hotel market, which is the region's largest segment. OTAs will hold the edge over suppliers with a projected 55% share of online gross bookings in 2020. When we move on to analyze countries in our region, Mexico and Brazil represent the main share of Latin America's travel bookings, as well as online travel revenue. The two countries combined are projected to account for 76% of total revenue and 77% of online gross bookings in 2020. In Mexico, COVID-19 put an end to 3 years of travel market gains as gross bookings climbed 5% to 24.4 billion in 2019. International tourism drove much of that increase with a record 45 million foreign visitors to the country. For 2020, however, gross bookings are projected to fall 58% to 10.3 billion. As Mexico has had difficulty getting the virus in check. Travel revenue is not expected to fully recover to pre-pandemic levels until 2023. Online gross bookings rose to 9 billion in 2019, and then online penetration climbed to 37%. Buoyed by Mexico's dominant hotel markets, OTA held a slight edge over travel suppliers, representing 55% of online gross bookings. When we move to Brazil, Brazil's travel market has been on a roller coaster ride for several years, mostly impacted by currency devaluation. Travel gross bookings, which improved 6% in 2019 to 19.1 billion, are forecast to plummet 68% to 6.1 billion in 2020. Bolstered by Brazil's robust internet penetration rate and expanding smartphone use, the country's online travel market will rebound more quickly than its overall travel market. In this case, online gross bookings will plunge 66% in 2020, but return to pre-pandemic levels by 2022. When revenue is projected to reach 8.7 billion. When we analyze segments, hotels and airlines dominate the Latin America travel market. Combined, the two segments are expected to account for 84% of all gross bookings in 2020. The hotel industry is Latin America's largest travel sector, and in 2019 accounted for nearly half of all revenue with gross bookings of 25.3 billion. OTAs represent 2/3 of hotel online revenue as a result of the large presence of small, independent, and family-owned properties, which rely mostly on intermediaries for the online distribution. With a projected 37% market share for 2020, The airline sector will play an important role in the travel market's recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Charuta presented us with 5 main trends that we are seeing globally, and most of them can be observed here in Latin America as well. When we look at what's happening, we can spot these early trends here, and we can then plan accordingly to be prepared for this, for the travel rebound in the years to come. The consumer journey, as we've seen, is becoming more and more digital, and we'll see solutions coming to facilitate all aspects of the trip. And what's more important, with faster traveler adoption. National and regional travel will be the main, maybe the only kind of travel we'll see in 2020. And for that to happen steadily, we need to increase consumers' confidence. Confidence is a word that is being repeated a lot in travel lately. Because what happens is that, as Charuta also presented, we have research saying that consumers need to feel confident that traveling is safe, as well as still fun and full of experiences. And that requires that suppliers put strict protocols in place, as well as clearly communicate their clients of what to expect when in destination. Leisure local travel is picking up, while corporate travel will take a little longer and may not come back as we knew it. Trips maybe won't have a clear label anymore. There will be leisure, corporate, and even a school trip at the same time. And we should be prepared to cater for all those needs in the same occasion. But to sum it up, what's more important is that at the end of the day, Latin Americans are passionate about traveling, and many families set aside a part of their budget to make travel a priority. So once this is over, we hopefully will see a travel boost in the region, with people wanting to discover more and to live new experiences. We should manage now, getting ready for that boost that's coming up. So these are the main highlights. You can check Phocuswright webpage, and you will see there the available new release study. And we hope you enjoy this data, because it is very important to be informed to plan for the upcoming years.